Hey guys, today we're just going to take a quick look at this machine here. This is a Tandy 425SX, and this is part of Tandy's PC compatible line. When I seen this, I was surprised, not because it was a PC. Every company, it seems, back in the day, like in the 90s and 80s, that had anything, even the slightest thing to do with electronics, made their own personal computer. So, and I mean, Tandy's, they're well known for the Tandy 1000 line of computers. So they were kind of Radio Shack's computer side of the business. But up until that point, I'd never seen a Tandy PC compatible. It was always some variation of the Tandy 1000 or a laptop. I guess I knew about the Sensations later, but I mean, I wasn't surprised this existed. I just never seen one. So I was like mildly surprised to see one, then like, oh, yeah, it's Tandy, it's PC compatible, that makes sense. Everyone made PC compatibles. So, it's a pretty slim line. When I first got this machine, it didn't have, this was added, this was just a blank cover piece, and it had the CD drive, and it had this floppy drive. I kind of like how it says right on the button 1.44 megabyte, but pretty standard. Just a lock. This is your reset button, and the power button is a block over here. The back, it's a little surprising the number of slots actually. Usually when you have these riser card machines, you have, this would be standard, and this would just be blank, but there's actually, it's a double-sided riser card, so there's actually room for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 expansion slots, although I believe on this side they can't be full length because there's stuff blocking it. But yeah, they're a little awkward to install on this side too. I think you have to take it out, but at least you can, which is cool. So we got a PS2 port for keyboard and monitor, 2 serial ports, a parallel port, and then built-in VGA. Pretty standard. So I'm going to open this up now. We'll take a look inside. Alright, so here's the inside of the machine. You see there's two rooms for two 5¼ inch drives here, and there's an internal space under the floppy for a hard disk. This is not the hard disk that came with it. This is it's a 210 megabyte IDE drive. I don't remember the original drive in this thing or the size. I did a lot of different things with this machine, so at some point that drive was removed and I added this one. It uses an AT Power CPU link, and right now it has an external battery hooked up to it, but I believe it's dead. But you can see here the ISA slots on this side, so you could see a full-length card would not work because they'd hit this, they'd hit the floppy drive and the hard drive. But this side supports full-length cards. Let's see here, there's the motherboard. This is a 486 machine, so the onboard processor is an Intel SX486, 25 megahertz. So this is soldered onto the motherboard, so this is non-removable. It's 25 megahertz and it's an SX, so there's no math coprocessor. But thankfully, right next to it, we have this slot here, and this is the CPU upgrade socket. And you can plop in another CPU, and what it does is disables this one, and then you're running off this one. I formerly in this had a DX with the math coprocessor, but I took that out. So, but the one in here right now, this is just a 33 megahertz SX. So no math copro, but it is a speed bump to 33 megahertz. But there isn't any problem with putting in a DX with a math copro. I believe there's documentation online for what jumper setting. I think though the only front side bus speeds it supports is 33 and 25 megahertz. But again, that's really not much of a problem because that means you can put in a 66 megahertz DX2. You can put in a DX2 50 megahertz if you want. So the RAM configuration on this, I don't know off the top of my head. but it's really picky about RAM, and two, it's just like some of the numbers are weird. I went through a ton of different RAM sticks, and I kept getting errors, or it wouldn't boot. Originally, I believe it came with four 30 pins, four 1 megabyte 30 pin sticks, so it was like 4 megabytes. This is it has one 72 pin, and right now it has an 8 megabyte stick. But I went through a ton of different sticks, and this is the only one that didn't throw an error. Now, these sticks work fine on other machines I've tried, so I don't know if this machine's just picky. If you notice, it's also a really weird RAM stick. I think it's low density because there is a ton of chips on it. But I mean, I had a 64 or 32 megabyte chip in here, and it booted up, but it gave me errors. So I don't know. It's real. I have not gotten the 72 pin and these to work at all. It just won't boot. It should. There's really not really any reason it shouldn't, but you know, theoretically, I think this thing could take 32 or 64. I'm thinking 32 megabytes, but I have had trouble getting it to work with anything. I'm happy I have found one stick that worked, so maybe it's just my luck. I don't know. The onboard video, it's nothing special. It's a WCW, so that's Western. It's a Western Digital chip, WD90C31ALR. It's okay. It's an okay VGA chip. It's not the best. For what I found online, this is mostly used in ISA, and from benchmarks I did, I believe this is running off the ISA bus, so it is not a VLB or VESA bus chip on this machine. So everything's ISA as far as I can tell. It gets the job done. It's not great. It has, I believe it's the video RAM, and it's 512 kilobytes, but I've added chips here before. I've had it goes up to 1 megabyte. These chips you can find pretty easy. I harvested them out of a old Trident ISA card, but I recently took them out to put in a different machine. But yeah, you can upgrade this to 1 megabyte. It really only helps in maybe Windows. It doesn't really help with speed so much as resolutions you can pick. This is the L2 cache. Right now it is disabled because I took the chips out. It didn't originally come with chips, then I added chips, and then I took them out. So this works with, I believe, 64, 128, and 256 kilobytes of L2 cache. And I had 256 kilobytes in here. It's slightly weird in the sense that I have lots of other machines that take 256 kilobytes, and generally it's eight sockets, and then one more for the tag RAM that's the same size. So it'd be 9 of these. This one, it's 9 of these, and then one for the tag RAM, and it wants a smaller chip. So it's a little bit inconvenient. The chips really aren't hard to find on eBay, but it's just a little inconvenient that it needs a tag RAM that's a different size and type. And I don't know why it should only need 8 for the 256 kilobytes of L2 cache, but it wants 9. I don't know what the extra one's for, maybe like parity checking or error correction or something, I don't know. But so you're gonna need 10 chips total, at least for the 256 kilobyte L2 cache setup. It's different for other, like I said, the documentation is pretty easy to find online. So that's about it. The IDE and the floppy are built into this motherboard, and they work. They're okay. I booted up the BIOS. You know, it's its own thing. It's not like an AMI BIOS or anything like that. But it's okay. It's manageable. Not a lot of options, but it's there. It's got an Opti chipset. That's about it. I want to say it uses a piezo speaker beeper, but maybe it does use a full speaker. I just don't see it. Of course, I don't see the little piezo beeper either, so I don't know. Probably on the blog when I took this thing apart. But anyways, yeah, that is the Tandy 425SX. So thank you for watching.